Hello, and welcome back to Storytime with Eric Zimmer. Our next classic is, ooh. This is a good one, and it's an important book from 1971. The Lorax. Now, of course, I'm sure many of you have seen the 1970 special, and then they made a movie from Illumination Entertainment. It was alright, but I like the special better. And the book too. Which we're about to read right now. You ready? Alright. Let's begin. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows. The old Onceler still lives there, here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock on his door. He stays in his lurkin' on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin', cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of the rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather's snail. How can he tell? This boy reminds me of the boy from the Cat in the Hat story. Then he puts up the nail, makes a most careful count, to see if you paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snuff, his secret strange hole, and his gruvulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-mophone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slup down the slups, the whisper-mophone to your ear. Down slups the whisper. Slup down slups the whisper-mophone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean. And the song of the Swamney Swans ran out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. And I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. Ah, colorful trees. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had a sweet smell of fresh buttery milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all I had built a small shop, and then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop, and with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took a soft tuft, and I knitted a thneed. Notice how we only see his arms. Aha! The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazub. I looked, and I saw something pop out of the stump. Of the tree I chopped down, it was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and when he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a dusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "What's that thing you've made out of my tuffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a Thanid. A Thanid's a fine something that old people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that fool Thanid." The very next minute I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the Thanid I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what people will buy, what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "Ah, I smell trouble." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Wee Hawkin, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting Thanids, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Uh-oh. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. Uh-oh. We were making Thanids 4 times as fast as before. And that Lorax? He didn't show up anymore. At least not yet. But the next week he knocked at my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting their crummies, because they have gas and no food in their tummies. Oh my God, they look malnourished." "They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food. I hope that they may." "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go. At least he's starting to show some remorse. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Uh-oh. This is not... You don't know what you're doing. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads. Excuse me. Of the needs I shipped out, I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more the needs. I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Sounds like he's getting too greedy. Oh my God. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes, when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed, and he sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a cruffulous croak. Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swummy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. Pollution. That's horrible. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough, they cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here. Oh, those poor birds. Oh, God. Not this. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, let me say a few words about gluppity glup. Your machine chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup and schloppity schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, dirty old Onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off, their future is dreary, so they'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Even the truffula trees don't look healthy now. Fish out of water. Literally. Oh no. Oh no. This is so bad. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 when I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into the needs which everyone needs. You're gonna regret this. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and we heard the tree fall. The very last truffula tree of them all. Oh no. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye and jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance, and he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace. You brought this on yourself. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word. Unless. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat there and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you, or us, cares an whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. So now he knows. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack, and then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. Now it lets you draw your own conclusions as to what happened. But I think I know perfectly. But I think I can guess what happened. It's like in Willy Wonka. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where Willy Wonka wanted to find a child to take over his factory, because if he found a grown-up, the grown-up wouldn't listen and want to do things their own way and not his. I think the kid did as he was told, because if the Onceler gave that truffula seed to a grown-up, the grown-up wouldn't have done it. Maybe. Because trees are important. Without trees, there would be no us, no living creatures anywhere. We need them for oxygen, and they need us for CO2. That's the way the world works. So my guess is that boy did exactly as he was told. He grew a truffula tree, and with the help of his friends, took the seeds from that truffula tree, and they grew a forest. They cleaned up the pond, and the air became cleaner, and eventually everybody, the barbaloots, the birds, all came back to the newly planted forest, and the Onceler and Lorax reconciled, with the Onceler now realizing the importance of the environment. But that's my guess. I'm glad you listened to this story with me. Thank you, and I'll see you next time on Story Time with Eric Zimmer.